that the entrepreneurial spirit is so active in Nigeria. It's the best in the world. I don't know how they survive, but they still see the next day. They still see the next day. They are just hopeful that something will happen. And somehow, something just happened. Maybe from a church member, maybe miraculously, I don't know. I believe in miracles, but it's insane. Yeah, it's insane. And it's pathetic. We have been reduced to not doing anything for ourselves anymore, but believing in the deity of God, which I don't have a problem with, but there are principles. Yeah. So the personality of Christ is in twofold: his person and his principles. While his person takes you to heaven, which I believe, the principles will survive you here on earth. But there is a swap in the Nigerian system. People want to use the person to run the principles. You are sick and you say, by his stripes I'm healed. You won't go to hospital. You are tired and you are still saying, the devil does not want me to preach the next message. Somehow they get lucky and they go away with it. But some other times they collapse and die. Or a long journey to freedom. It's possible. You just have to be able to dream. In Nigeria, there are problems. How do you begin to solve any of these problems? And you have to look at some 3 E's. I call them the EA factor, E-A-R. The problem you have to solve, is it essential for human survival? Is it essential for human existence? Is it essential? The next thing is it affordable? Going by the current per capita income of the average Nigerian, which is less than $2,000. How many people can buy into the solution that you are providing? Because it's all about numbers. And then the something is, can it be resold? Can you resell what that problem is to somebody who sees it and says, oh yes, I want to buy again? I saw a young entrepreneur, she's 28, in Port Harcourt here, who has built more than 6 houses through groundnut frying. I went to her office and I saw 80 young men frying groundnuts. 80 young men. She pays them daily. Don't stay wanting to use the escalator. Go through the staircase. You don't need to get a job. Go to work. Work is applying yourself to do something that brings money. Don't wait until the white collar job comes. Do something. Apply yourself.
Do you think that banks are designed to make entrepreneurs rich? Or what is the role of the bank in the entrepreneurial journey?
The role of the bank in the entrepreneurial journey is first to help grow for those who are budding, those who are new or greenhorn, and then to help those who have already grown to consolidate or become stronger, and then to ensure sustainability generally in the business that you do. So the bank is supposed to be a cushioning effect, financial cushioning to any entrepreneur. However, like I was telling my friend not too long ago, I said, our banking system is different from the normal banking system that I have been exposed to abroad. I've had to deal with some banks abroad, and I see the differences. Whereas in the US or in Europe, they are looking for long-term financing. They want to build a legacy business. They are interested in not what you make in the short ends. They want to see everything about you put into works and producing results systematically, sequentially, and continually. But the banks in Nigeria, and this is another structural defect, maybe because of policy somersault, or maybe because of culture, or maybe because of some certain terrible things that happen. Banks in Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, I've been there. They are more interested in short-circled finance. They don't want to extend their risk because they don't know who is coming to change the policy. And our orientation as borrowers, many people believe that bank money is national cake. Okay? And so you see the banks in our climb enriching those who are already rich.
Exactly.
And then killing those who do not have the ability to produce what they want. And that was what took me to one of the businesses. I'm sure you know I have a small
Grace Capital.
Yeah. I noticed, just like that my Indonesia friend was doing with the retail banking, and I noticed that it's not all about collateral. Sometimes it's about the conscience or the character of the borrower. It was risky, very risky, but I got involved myself because I have been there, and I put out some funds and I said, take it. I'm not taking any collateral from you. I'm not taking any collateral. It's just your word against mine. But I had dimensioned my market to women because they are more conscientious most of the times. And of course, they do more retail businesses than the others. So I had segmented my market to targeting just women. And the story is different. 4 years, 5 years after, the portfolio has grown. We still have not changed our tactics because we know that there are some honest business people who cannot necessarily give you the collateral that you want, but whose businesses are purely based on cash flow. If I get, I bring back. So the Nigerian banking system needs to be able to evolve if they need to really support entrepreneurship.
I was going to ask, but you mentioned it, but I'd like you to touch on it a little. Why is it difficult for some small businesses to access financing or loans, and it's easier for the big guys? Is it a structural problem from the small business angle, or is it that the banks just tend to favor the bigger guys?
So if you are small, you are small. And if you're big, you're big. And sometimes I don't like bringing these scriptures in, but it's just that it's true. When they say the poor will not cease in the land, they will always be there. There is something about very little businesses because their survivability is low. The probability to survive is 1/3. And banks, most of the times, will not want to take risk, especially on new businesses. All right? Because they don't understand your margins. There is no historical. They don't know what difference you make that your interest can accommodate. And so they tell you, use equity. By equity, your personal funds. Let's see what you can do on your own. And you will now see that what you can do on your own is not sufficient. Because the retail business, which is the small entrepreneurial business, is based on turnover. Is based on turnover because the margins are small.
Yes.
And if it is based on turnover, it means it requires capital injection, volumes. Unfortunately, these people don't have access to it. And so the little they do dies even before maturity. So it's like somebody who wants to leave the lake where he's fishing to go to the river or move from the river to the ocean. Now, what you generally do in the lake is to use tadpoles or earthworms to catch tilapias. Now, if you eat up those tilapias because you have to survive, you do not have anything to go to the river because you need those tilapias as a bait to be able to catch a shark. So you see, it is a circle of poverty because they can't just break out of it without capital injection. The economy is not also helping in terms of government infrastructures. They will produce, they cannot transport. They will produce, they cannot preserve because there are no lights. And those who use these facilities
And that's a major problem.
That's the major problem. Those who use power, for instance, what are they going to do? Buy fuel at 1,390 naira?
It's crazy.
If you run a barbing salon, how many people are you going to cut their hair to be able to buy another 5 liters? And if people decide to improvise by cutting their hair themselves, you don't have a business. Now, the truth about it in Nigeria is that every day, 5 in every 20 businesses that are retail closes up. They close up every day. It's sad, but it's true.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And these are the things that lead to social vices, moral decadence, where you see everybody doing something different. I was talking to a young boy, and he told me, Oga, I will tell you the benefit of Yahoo. But let's not go into that. Let's not go into that. That's a discussion for another day. He told me he was boastful about it. That is the Yahoo boys running the entire economy of Nigeria, whether I like it or not. And by the time he finished, I became a little bit small. Surprisingly so. You're thinking,
It's crazy. It's
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So how do people survive? Because everything's on the rise. All of this is happening, and then the cost of living is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Housing costs. That's
It's in the
another
roof.
housing costs at this point in Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt is competing with Lagos at this point.
Yes.
For housing costs.
Housing costs,
right
yeah,
now.
true.
A decent 2-bedroom flat 3-4 years ago, you could get at 600 to 800,000. Decent in some good areas.
Yeah.
Right now, a decent 2-bedroom flat is going, if you are lucky, 1.8 million, 2 million, 3.5 million, and more.
Very true.
It's common man supposed to survive.
Hard is surviving. So so there is something that we call the multipliers effect. Housing has become extremely expensive because of the material costs too. When I built my first house, cement was going for 60 naira a bag. I understand that the same bag is 13,500.
Crazy. It's yeah.
So I'm not going to build a house with 1.2 million when I did anymore. And I see that you give somebody even a 50,000 naira and he says, is that all you can do? Yeah. It's crazy. So how do people survive? Answering that question. First, there are over 300 and something thousand churches in Nigeria. We have become religious people. We live by faith. We just believe that God sees our problems and our weaknesses, and somehow, miraculously, people just survive. You appeal to my emotions and I'm able to extend. So Nigerians are very generous people. They are able to share even a biscuit if they can divide it into two. In the other climes that I've been privileged to be in, the first word you hear from an Englishman is, I'm afraid I can't help.
I have one story like that. So
Good.
this is a major general in the army now. He was sharing a story how they went for a course abroad, and he was just all by himself, and his colleagues say, let's go to McDonald's. Let's go to McDonald's. So he's like, okay, now free to know the budge
at all,
right? And then they went to McDonald's, and then when they were done, they said, "What's the bill?" And I say, "Okay, so we're going to split it by 4." He said,
What's going on here?
Where I come from, somebody will sponsor."
Exactly. It's not so there.
So he said, "Don't worry, I'll sponsor all of you."
Yeah. And they will look at him as a god. Yeah. They look at him as a god. But, here we just have a way of surviving. That's why I told you that the entrepreneurial spirit is so active in Nigeria. Is the best in the world. I don't know how they survive, but they still see the next day. They still see the next day. They are just hopeful that something will happen. And somehow, something just happens. Maybe from a church member, maybe miraculously, I don't know. I believe in miracles, but it's insane. Yeah, it's insane. And it's pathetic that we have been reduced to not doing anything for ourselves anymore, but believing in the deity of God, which I don't have a problem with, but there are principles.
Yeah.
So the personality of Christ is in twofold, his person and his principles. While his person takes you to heaven, which I believe, the principles should survive you here on earth. But there is a swap in the Nigerian system. People want to use the person to run the principles. You are sick and you say, by his stripes I'm healed. You won't go to hospital. You are tired and you are still saying the devil does not want me to preach the next message. Somehow they get lucky and they go away with it. But some other times they collapse and die. It's the pain, it's the reality. That's where we found ourselves. But is there a way out? Maybe that's your next question. Let me pause.
Yeah. So what does that roadmap look like for the average person going through all of this?
Yeah.
How do I come out of it and make something out of my life?
So I call this a long walk or a long journey to freedom. It's possible. You just have to be able to dream. So this brings me to the 5 Ds that are my success nuggets for every Nigerian. And because it happened to me, you have to be able to dream. What do you want to become? Yes, it's true that the economy is bad, but you should be able to look for a problem. The reason why I cannot relocate or I cannot live abroad successfully outside age is I think that they have sorted out most of the problems abroad. And if they have sorted out most of them, I don't have any problem to solve, then I only fit into the mode of someone who is solving problems, which is a job. All right. And I don't think at this age I want that kind of a job. So in Nigeria, there are problems. How do you begin to solve any of this problem? And you have to look at some 3 E's. I call them the EA factor, EAR. The problem you have to solve, is it essential for human survival? Is it essential for human existence? Is it essential? The next thing is it affordable? Going by the current per capita income of the average Nigerian, which is less than $2,000. So when I say $2,000 now, I'm looking at NBS record of 2018, 2019, because $2,000 then is not the same thing as $2,000 now. Good. Now, is it affordable? How many people can buy into the solution that you are providing? Because it's all about numbers. And then the something is, can it be resold? Can you resell what that problem is to somebody who sees it and says, oh, yes, I want to buy again. So you have to dream. You have to be disciplined with your dreams. You have to just be consistent. That's what discipline is telling us. You wake up every morning, you're thinking of this podcast, you're thinking of who should I call next, you're thinking, you're reading, you're doing your research. And sometimes you will research for a whole week, and then the person who you are bringing says, I'm not available. What you do? Do you give up on that? No. Discipline says, yeah, let me keep this. I'll use it next time. And you start all over again. Then you have to be desirous of that result. That's the 3rd D. Yes, you're disciplined. The truth about it is that it can work against your expectations. But when you desire something, you become irrepressible. I just want to be this. I told you how I came into banking. Then we don't call it suits. It was coat, because we make it in Aba. I will wear the coat and stay in front of the mirror, and I'll be telling myself, hey, next customer, come in my room.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just did all of that. I was desirous. Now, the best way to explain desire is, if you've ever loved a girl, if you've ever fallen in love, and it is compulsory for you to hear her voice or see her before you go to bed, that's what should happen to every man's dream. They call it lust, the flip side of desire. But it is the desire that is unquenchable. You just have to believe it. The next D is determination. The determination there says it's possible to fail, but I'm not going to back out. Yeah, I'm determined. These granules, they didn't buy it today. What's going to happen? Okay, worst case scenario, sell at the same cost price, or use it as a compliment for people who I can appeal to their conscience next. I saw a young entrepreneur, she's 28, in Port Harcourt here, who has built more than 6 houses through groundnut frying. Yeah. Crazy. I went to her office in NTA Road area, and I saw 80 young men frying granules. 80 young men. She pays them daily.
That's
crazy.
insane, because a lot of people will look down on the business because it's not
Peanuts.
sexy.
It's not sexy. Yeah. But that's what she does. And she was taking me to her houses that she's built at 28. So what I say, the way out is don't stay wanting to use the escalator. Go through the staircase.
What does that mean?
Now that means that you don't need to get a job. Go to work. There are works everywhere. Work is applying yourself to do something that brings money. Don't wait until the white collar job comes. Do something. Apply yourself.